guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Reread. This is Unabridged, and today I'm going to be reviewing book 4 of the Bunnicula book series, and that is Nighty Nightmare by James Howe. Today is Wednesday the 19th, and I finished it just in time. I have already started chapter 1 of our next book, which is Return to Holiday Inn. This is book 5 in the series. There's only 2 more books left. But let's get into Nighty Nightmare. So, turns out that I actually have not finished the Bunnicula series. I've only ever read books what I thought was books 1 through 4, but really it's just Bunnicula, Rabbit Tale of Mystery, Holiday Inn, Celery Stalks at Midnight, and Return to Holiday Inn. I completely missed Nighty Nightmare, I completely missed Bunnicula Strikes Again, and I completely missed Bunnicula meets Edgar Allan Poe. So, the back of this book says that things are not what they seem. Are Harold, Howie, and Chester simply lost in the woods with Dog, their strange new friend? Or have they been lured away from their campsite intentionally, leaving the Monroes at the mercy of evil spirits with mayhem on their minds? Lulling Dog to sleep with a bedtime story may be their only hope of escaping, but is the hair-raising tale of the origins of Bunnicula the Vampire Bunny really a bedtime story? So, this one was actually kind of spooky. Like, I got goosebumps when they were telling the origin story of Bunnicula. Basically, Mr. Monroe is fishing with Harold, and he talks about how he's turning 40, and he feels like he's starting his, midlife crisis. He feels like he's halfway through his life and he hasn't done anything. So then he gets this bright idea to go on an overnight camping trip with the boys and his wife and all of their pets except for Bunnicula. They're already out at the beach/park/forest, and Pete has become a Cub Scout, and Toby has become a Bobcat, which I guess is like the baby of the Cub Scouts or whatever. And even though Miss Monroe is feeling really sketchy about it, they all decide to go on this overnight camping trip. And while they're there, they meet these 2 other campers who are brothers, Spud and Bud, and their dog named Dog. Literally, that's the dog's name. And from there, hilarity and Chester's overactive imagination go nuts. I give this book 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. Like I said, I had actual, literal goosebumps at some parts. This book is super freaking funny. I took pictures and highlighted a bunch of parts that I'm gonna, trickle in here. The story's really good. It really pushes the toe. Is there anything actually supernatural happening? Is Chester actually correct? Is Chester gonna be right one of these times? Or is it just an overactive imagination and everything kind of fits the storyline that Chester kind of spins for you? I think that's one of the interesting things about these books, is that even though Harold types up the manuscript and gives it to the publisher for us to read, it really seems like Chester's story. Everything kind of falls into place how Chester wants it to in order for it to support whatever, ridiculous theory Chester has at the moment. And this book is no different. It ended in 122 pages. I want to say that I started this yesterday on Tuesday, but I don't think I was very far. I might have been on chapter 2 at the most. I finished most of it. I finished the rest of it today. So, super quick read. Our next book is Return to Holiday Inn, which I have read before. So I'm excited to see what I remember, what I don't remember, and if it lives up to the hype. This book makes 52 out of 55 read, so I am going to wind up finishing my book goal with Bunnicula before the end of the year. But that's cool, because that just means I get to read even more books, and I will have finished a goal. And I also have an advanced reader copy of Catcher's Vendetta, which is a striker thriller written by Avanti Centre. And I'm so excited to start this. It is my first advanced reader copy. It's my first arc. I really feel like, I'm doing big things now. People are wanting me to read their stuff. I'm super excited about that and the opportunities that represents. So this is one of the next books on my list to read. This novel comes out on the 15th of November. So that completes my wrap up on Bunnicula Book 4, Nighty Nightmare. You're going to be seeing me again soon, hopefully, because I'll have a review for Book 5, Return to Holiday Inn, before this Friday, so that I'll be back on track. And the next Friday, I'll be reviewing the last two novels of the series, Bunnicula Strikes Again and Bunnicula Meets Edgar Allan Poe, which I'm super excited about because these last two books will be books that I've never read before, never touched. So I'm excited to see what adventures Bunnicula and the gang have in store for us.
Realizing this.
Welcome back. These are the last three reviews for the Bunnicula series by James Howe. It is a couple of hours before Halloween, and I have completed all 7 books. I filmed reviews for the rest of the books as they came out, but because I was trying to complete the series before Halloween, before the end of October, this will be the review of the last 3 books. So the first book I want to talk about is Return to Holiday Inn. This is book 5 in the series. This book sees Harold, Howie, and Chester returning to Chateau Bow Wow as the Monroes go on vacation. They meet a new cast of characters. You have a weasel. You have Hamlet, which is an arthritic Great Dane. You have 2 cat burglars that are cats, Melody Felony and Misdemeanor, super adorable, love them. You meet Bob and Linda. They are, I think they're like, I don't want to say they're dachshunds, but they're another like they're like another small breed of dog. And Bob always wears a cap. Super adorable. But basically, they all get there, they all get to hang out, they all get to meet each other, and then they begin to receive these cryptic messages from a ghost dog named Rosebud. And from there, the mystery takes off. Who is Rosebud? What is the secret of Chateau Bow Wow? How can we save ourselves? All kinds of things occurring. This one was actually relatively spooky. I thought out of all of the ones that I had read so far that Nighty Nightmare was the spookiest, but I've actually read this before and I did not remember anything. I remembered Weasel because I loved that character as a kid. Weasels get a bad rap, don't you think, Harold? Why, I don't look conniving, scary, homicidal to you, do I? Like, that has been in my head since I was a child. It's always been there. Weasel was always my favorite character. Like, I remember so many things, but that in particular has stuck with me. So, getting to read it in its entirety, with my new adult brain, like, it was relatively spooky. It was a good time. I already rated this on Goodreads. I honestly don't remember what I gave it, so I'm gonna put that here. The next book I want to talk about is Bunnicula Strikes Again. This is book 6, and in this one, Bunnicula and Chester have their like final battle. It's very reminiscent of Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty and like Dracula and Van Helsing. Who's gonna win? Will they find a way to coexist gracefully, or will this be the end of Bunnicula? Obviously not, because there's a book 7, but you know. So this was super melancholy. I really thought that like they were gonna have it out. It was gonna be the end, and I really didn't know what to do with myself. I was beside myself. I had a feeling that the books were gonna get more morose as they went on, just because I knew that they were ending. I knew that the stories were going to start wrapping themselves up. The cast is getting older, and that's just always something that's made me so sad. So this book was a little melancholy, a little dreary for me, but still a great time. In this one, the Monroes are on a mission to save the local theater, and it's also the theater where they found Bunnicula. A big company wants to come and tear it down, make room for something ridiculous, and they've been protesting. Now they aren't successful. It still begins its tear down and everything, but the adventure that they have getting there and after really unites Harold, Chester, Howie, and Bunnicula for the better. And it's awesome. I think I gave this one 4.5. And the last book, which I literally just finished, I literally just filmed myself for an hour and 20 minutes reading this book. It only took me an hour and 20 minutes to finish. There's 139 pages in it. It's the last one. It had me tear up. It wasn't at all what I expected. I give this one 4 stars. It wasn't bad. Like, don't get me wrong. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting Edgar Allan Poe to, like, be a Crow version of Edgar Allan Poe. I was expecting to be wooed with poetry and whimsicalness and adventure. We got all of those things, just not the poetry and not from Edgar. So Pete decides to write a letter to his favorite author, M.T. Graves. And if that sounds familiar to you and you've been hanging out with us this last, 4 videos, that's because he writes the Flesh Crawler series that he and Howie are just so into. So he writes this letter about what grosses him out the most, and it wins this letter writing contest. And the prize for the contest is that the author comes to your school, but because he made his pet sound so fascinating, the author requests to stay with the Monroes. And of course, because they don't suspect anything of it, they say yes. And then from there, everything is nuts. Chester has an entirely new mission to make sure that nothing happens to the pets, as every book in the series has some kind of pet companion transforming into some type of monster robot creature. So he is on a mission to save them, make sure that nothing happens to the pets while Empty Graves is in their presence. And then when he arrives, he's this like big, hulking, like black figure. And it's definitely a don't judge a book by its cover story. And it's just so good. So good. And they almost got me. I was like, oh my god, this is how they're gonna end it? Like, this is the end? And then, of course, they, like, wrapped it up all nice and neat. And I really don't know why I worried, but I did. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really thought it was cute. I really wanted some poetic pieces from Edgar the Crow here. But all in all, it was a good time. And this is the last book in the series. We are done with our readathon, and there's still 3 hours in the day left. It's not even Halloween, so we were successful! Oh, do you see these new shelves? So, a new spot for me to film. And yeah, because now I'm on a tangent. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, finished all 7 of the Bunniculas. And I completed my goal of reading for the year, which was 55 books, and I finished that a book ago. So now we are on 56. And I have, like, 8 books that have been, like, circling my brain all October while I've been trying to get through these. So be prepared. I have lots of books coming your way. Once again, I'm Moriarty. This is Unabridged. I will catch you next time. Peace.